You know it's been 40-odd years and I don't think I've ever read the whole of the title crawl. Don't think I'm going to start now. Plus I'm not. We see R2-D2 and C-3PO talking as their ship is being boarded. R2-D2 is speaking in bleeps and boops and C-3PO is mistranslating him. R2-D2 actually said "fuck this ish" and "fuck you as well in your stupid give me golden face. I'm off to the pub to get pissed and find some brass." George Lucas being ahead of his time, but no toy producers thought they could sell a potty-mouthed droid to children. Little did they know 10 years later they would be selling toys of PDF file Freddy Krueger. Stormtroopers board the ship and pew-pew. Darth Vader enters the ship. Leia gives R2-D2 her credit card as she wants to join him in the pub. R2-D2 is like "fuck yeah, beers are on me" and runs off to an escape pod. Darth Vader looks for the Death Star plans and interrogates a rebel soldier and orders the stormtroopers to find the plans. Leia is hiding but jumps out and shoots at the stormtroopers, but then runs out in the open in front of stormtroopers and gets shot. Guess this was before Star Wars was woke. R2-D2 and C-3PO get in an escape pod. The Imperials notice an escape pod leaving, but do nothing as their scan shows no life. They have forgotten they live in a world with droids. R2-D2 and C-3PO land on a desert planet. R2-D2 then says,
"I can see the pub from here,"
and leaves C-3PO. R2-D2 gets kidnapped by Jawas and taken back to their ship, or whatever it is. There he is left with other droids and finds C-3PO. Stormtroopers land and start looking for R2-D2 and C-3PO. The Jawas go see Luke and his uncle to sell them droids. And buy C-3PO and another droid. R2-D2 really wants to go to the pub, so uses the Force to blow up the other droid and C-3PO persuade Luke to buy R2-D2. Luke, while cleaning R2-D2, plays a hologram. R2-D2 wanting to get to the pub lies and says that he is owned by only one pierogi. As he knows Jedi like young children, Luke may be a bit old, but surely only one pierogi will give him some beer money. Luke thinks he knows pierogi and could be the local weirdo Ben Pierogi. When Luke leaves, R2-D2 leaves to try to find the pub. The next day Luke and C-3PO go looking for R2-D2 in a speeder. They find him in the desert but are ambushed by sand people. Luke then gets
"Knock the f*** out, man!"
Ben Pierogi turns up and scares off the sand people and saves Luke and the droids. I always wondered what the weird noise was that he made to scare them off, but it was Tuscan, and when you translate it he said,
"Give me some chon chon."
I see why the sand people ran away now. Then, Ben Pierogi confirms that he is only one pierogi. And invites Luke back to his house. At only one's house he gives Luke a lightsaber and explains to Luke what the Force and Jedis were, but leaves out the part about kidnapping young children into a cult. They play the message from Leia again, and it tells only one to take R2-D2 to her father on Alderaan as R2-D2 contains important info. Only one is as old as shit. Oh wait. Anyway, he forgets what happened with Luke's father and tells Luke he must learn the ways of the Force. But Luke wants to go back to his moisture farm. Luke finds the Jawa ship thing destroyed. Luke finds his uncle and aunt are dead. So Luke goes back to only one. The gang arrive at Mos Eisley, but stop outside for only one to explain that they need to be cautious. Then they decide to go to the pub. They are stopped by stormtroopers, but only one uses a Jedi mind trick on the stormtroopers and they let them past. Droids aren't let in and R2-D2 is pissed and stomps his feet and leaves. Guess droid lives matter. Only one immediately forgets he told them to be careful and leaves Luke to get chatted up at the bar by two randos. Luke has no idea what's going on, so only one just cuts off one of their hands. They go with Chewie, who takes them to Han Solo. Many people think that Han called Chewbacca simply Chewie, as it was easier to say. But real ones know that it is because, like chimpanzees in a fight, he goes for the a lot and chews on them. You think that's a bandolier with bullets in, it's bullets kept in there for him to chew on later. Then the gang escape Mos Eisley with stormtroopers chasing them. On the Death Star, Darth Vader's mate asks Leia to reveal the location of the rebel base, otherwise he will destroy Aldrin, her home planet. She tells the location. Darth's mate is like,
"Congratulations, you played yourself,"
and blows up the planet anyway. Back on the Millennium Falcon, Luke is playing with only one's balls and only one senses something is wrong. Han Solo doesn't believe in the Force. Very strange, as he was born before Order 66. He's obviously an alpha male, and doesn't watch any TV. Only one tells Luke to play with his balls without looking. The gang arrive at Alderaan, but there are only lots of asteroids there. They notice the Death Star, but it's too late and they get pulled in by a tractor beam and they hide under the floor. Inside the Death Star, stormtroopers have boarded the Millennium Falcon and report to Darth Vader that they have found nothing. Darth tells them to use scanning the crew aboard straight away, and says he senses something that he hasn't felt since and forgets and just walks away. To be fair, he is old as shit as well. Oh, I can't remember what I did yesterday and I'm not a toasted cyborg. So Luke and Han steal some stormtroopers' uniforms and escape onto the Death Star. They break into a control room. R2-D2 is pissed at only one, so finds the tractor beam room and tells him to go there. Only one pieces out to go and see the tractor, thinking to himself,
"I drove my tractor through your haystack last night."
R2-D2 knows the Death Star is huge, so there must be a pub and he keeps searching but finds Leia. Luke tries to persuade Han to go and help her. But Han, being a true alpha and not a
simp,
is having none of it. Luke explains that Leia is rich, so there will be a reward. Han's all about business, is all in and is like,
"You better have my money."
They hatch a great plan of taking Chewie as a prisoner and trick their way in to find Leia. But then Chewie is like,
"Don't touch me!"
They find Leia and escape in the garbage compactor. R2-D2 switches off the power to the compactor and they escape. Only one finds the tractor beam and just presses buttons as he thinks,
"'Cause I ain't got a brand new combiner."
Luke, Han, Chewie and Leia eventually get back to the ship, but there's lots of stormtroopers there. Luckily only one runs into Darth Vader, and they have a badass fight. Oh wait, it's like two 80-year-olds fighting. It is enough to distract the stormtroopers and let the gang back on the ship. Luke notices only one, and then only one is like,
"I'm a ghost, I'm gone."
Luke is more upset than when his aunt and uncle died. That's some top grooming. Luke's still upset on the ship, but the Millennium Falcon is attacked while trying to escape. Luke shoots some ships and is happy. But Darth Vader let them go, so they can follow them to the rebel base. After arriving at the rebel base, they retrieve the Death Star plans from R2. Some dude explains that the Death Star is built to defend against a large-scale attack and a single fighter can destroy it with one shot. So they decide to launch all their ships in a large-scale attack. The Death Star is approaching the rebel base. Han, as he has never watched any TV, was impressed with the old man's slow laser sword fight and now believes in the Force. He then peace out and leaves. The rebels launch an attack on the Death Star. Darth Vader and other ships kick the rebels' asses. Luke is about to make his shot, but Darth Vader is closing in on him. Then out of nowhere Han turns up and stops Darth Vader shooting at Luke. Han returned because
money, we get that shit and blow it. We trick 30 G's and they got shit to show for it.
The rebels win by destroying the Death Star. They all have a party and R2-D2 is like, I was going to put in a clip with R2-D2 bopping along to the young black teenagers, tap the bottle. But it gets a content ID claim by YouTube. Actually, I think that is better than the clip. Now I have visions of Cameron from YBT sitting in front of his PC making copyright claims.